going live. You're live?
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Hello, hello, hello. We've got a couple minutes until 4 o'clock. My son, Andrew, wanted to come on and say hello. So this is my 7-year-old. He's my guinea pig. He's my reader. So he's a big reader and loves to read lots of different stories. And he has been listening to my story chapter by chapter every day. So I get a chance to practice reading it one time through. Are you enjoying it? Yep, he's enjoying it. Anybody else having issue with long hair because you can't go to get your hair cut? I think it actually looks really good on him to have kind of longer hair because he has such pretty red hair. Handsome red hair. Good looking red hair. He's almost 8. He'll be 8 in June, right? It's coming up. You want to say anything else?
No.
No? Okay. Make sure to shut the door. Okay. Do you want your little arrow?
Oh, my arrow thing.
He's not supposed to be bringing toys in my office, but I did let him bring in a little bit of a toy in here for just a minute. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
He said to me, he was like, Evie got to be on. I want to be on too. So he wanted to come and say hello to you guys. How was your weekend? I hope you had a great weekend. It was a good weekend here. I know for me, I'm starting to get that cabin fever of like, I really want to go out a little bit, just like a restaurant somewhere. And of course we can't. I did get out of the house a little bit today because I had to go get my contacts checked. So I went to the eye doctor, but she didn't have any other patients there. It was just me and the doctor. But it was the first time I've really been out of the house at all in quite a while. So, oh, goodness. Too short, right? Cons of still working. Yeah, I totally understand. Hey, Katie, how are you? Welcome, everybody. Good weekend home here in California. Mikkel, I'm glad to hear that. Oh, you were just watching my gaming video. Hey, Dinah. So yeah, I have a vlog that went up yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's a fun little vlog. I actually recorded it back in February because I got some new gaming setup for my upstairs office. That's like our little gaming space. And so I had recorded a vlog of that like transformation because it always feels so satisfying to me to watch when people like redecorate their spaces. So I was hoping you guys might enjoy that. Hopefully for this next weekend, I'm going to have a little bit of a vlog of my sort of witchy cabinet that I have upstairs. I call it my meditation cabinet. And it's got all my crystals and different things like that. So hopefully I'll be able to show that to you guys next time. Hey, Carrie, so glad you made it. Yay. Oh my gosh, Sylvia, the headphones are my favorite part because the little kitty ears, some of you guys know, of course, if you watched the vlog yesterday, you know for sure that I am a Hello Kitty fanatic. Ever since I was a little girl, I have loved and been obsessed with Hello Kitty. So I always kind of have little Hello Kitties everywhere. I've got this one that's a Swarovski Hello Kitty. She's heavier, but then I also have others here that I can't. Let's see if I can reach them. I'm like, can I reach that from where I'm sitting? So I have these that are like Tokidoki Hello Kitties as well. And you can see some maybe up here on the shelf and so forth. I just love Hello Kitty and always have. Oh, so glad you enjoyed it, Laura. Mariah, thank you so much. I always forget to say it. If you're here and you've been enjoying this so far, please hit the thumbs up button down below so that people know you're enjoying it, which then makes YouTube send out more notifications to people to let them know about the story. Oh, your mom is obsessed with Hello Kitty too. Yay. I have a Hello Kitty Build-A-Bear too that my niece made for me, which is really fun. I still have that. Yeah, you can still go to Sonic at the drive-in. I know the Sonic here is still open. I did do a call ahead order to Panera after my eye doctor appointment today, and they bring it out to your car. So that was a little something, but it's not the same as getting to actually go out to a restaurant. And I just miss it. But hopefully, well, we know it won't last forever and we're going to get through this. So hopefully this story has been helping you in some small way to get through it. I wanted to not only welcome you guys back, but I also wanted to just tell you that the crazy thing about working on a story like this, chapter by chapter, and really thinking through it it's like my husband and I have been lucky enough that we still get to go for walks in our neighborhood. And I think I mentioned this the other day, that people just kind of cross the street. So you're not like close to anyone, but it's been nice and the weather is really nice. But when we will walk for like 30 to 40 minutes as a family. And we've been talking through the story. And the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, this could be a whole series. This needs to be a whole series. And this is the problem with me and writing anything that is really fun for me, is that I want to turn it into a series. And I already have 3 series going. So, we'll see how it goes. Maybe if you guys really love this and you like the way the story ends, then maybe we could just keep going with reading it, even subsequent books. Yeah, we got to see. I'm definitely going to take my cues from you guys. I also wanted to ask the question because I've had so many people asking me, could you please put this book up for pre-order? Not only to support what I'm doing, to just kind of give $3 in so you can get the book in full when it's done. But also some people are like, I don't really love having the daily cliffhangers. Can you just make it a pre-order so that when the book is finished, we can just buy it that way? So I was just wondering if you guys would be interested in me actually putting this up as an ebook. In order to make it worthwhile to put it up as an ebook, I probably would have to price it at $2.99, which would be kind of the lowest that I could price it long term. But I might be able to put it on pre-order for a little bit less, like 99 cents. But just let me know if you guys would be interested, because you can still obviously read the ebook over on Wattpad and on my blog. So I was like, I didn't think anybody would really be interested in the ebook. But even as I'm going through the story like this, I understand that if I had, a chance to go through it and edit it again and again and again, like I normally do with my books, then I could add even more to the story, like even more depth. So if it comes out in an ebook in the future, it probably will be a little bit different and a little bit more expanded. So yeah, if you guys are interested, which looks like a lot of people are really interested, then I will definitely work on getting that up. And yes, thank you, Laura. It would be a really great way to support me. But of course, I am doing this really and truly not for money. I'm doing this just 100%, not only for myself in terms of getting myself back to a writing habit, but also just because I thought if there's one way I could serve the world and the community and try to help out in any way, which I feel like is just puts good energy out into the world, it would be to tell a story that gets your mind off of it. So it's really more about that than it is about money. But yeah, if I do decide to put it up on ebook, it'll be up everywhere. I don't do exclusivity programs. So it would be on Kindle and Google Play and Apple Books and Kobo Books and Barnes and Noble and Draft to Digital and all of those places. So more news coming on that. I might get a pre-order up for you guys if anybody's interested in that. All right. So I think that's all I had to say before we get started. And we're already over 100 people. Yay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I noticed that over the weekend, even with the break, the numbers kept rising. So I think we have over 500 people now have listened to all of the episodes, which is just really exciting to me. And I hope you guys are loving it. I keep thinking, okay, well, this chapter or this episode will be a little bit shorter. And then it ends up being just as long as the previous one. So by the time we get to the end of this book, we might have even longer chapters. We'll just have to go with the flow. All right, you guys, hopefully you're ready, because this is episode 7, More to It Than That. Blythe Greer scared the crap out of me. I'd never seen her smile, not once the entire time I'd known her. Even her ravens all seemed to have hard expressions when they delivered notes from her. I'd grown to fear the sight of her even as a child, because whenever she appeared in person, it was almost always to deliver bad news or to reprimand my parents in some way. I needed to tread carefully here. I haven't done anything to interfere directly in the investigation into the missing girls, I said. Missing girls? Martin asked. How on earth did you get tangled up in that mess? I sighed. At least Miss Greer hadn't been here long enough to explain everything to Martin. It's all anyone is talking about at school, I said. I looked Miss Greer directly in the eyes. The council insisted I attend, by the way. She had literally no expression. unless harsh was an expression. The girl who was taken today was my friend, I said. I didn't offer anything else because, frankly, I didn't know how much the council knew. The fact that they knew anything kind of gave me the willies because I hadn't really done anything beyond that locating spell. I had no idea they were watching me this closely. I've done nothing wrong, I said. Where were you just now? Miss Greer asked. At school, like you were supposed to be? I shifted my weight and adjusted the bag on my shoulder. I was visiting another friend I'd made at school the other day. I glanced at Uncle Martin, hoping maybe his expression would give me some clue as to what kind of trouble I was in here. Truth be told, I really hadn't done anything illegal. Not yet, anyway. I had used my magic a few times, but I hadn't done anything that uninitiated witches aren't sanctioned to do. Why exactly was Miss Greer here in Newcastle? See, she was just visiting a friend, Uncle Martin said. I told you she's done nothing wrong. A mirror spell is not a punishable offense if no one sees it. Why are you here, Miss Greer? Let's get down to it. I'm too old to play games, especially where my ward is concerned. Blythe Greer kept her eyes on mine for a long, silent moment. It was enough to make my hands sweat and my mouth go dry, but I at least managed to keep my knees from knocking together, audibly anyway. Put your bag down and sit, Miss Greer said, motioning to the dusty couch in the formal sitting room no one ever used. I glanced at Martin, and he nodded slightly. You may go, she said to Martin, not even bothering to look at him. His mouth opened for a moment, and I thought he was going to tell her to stuff it at first. After a few seconds, though, he excused himself and walked away. Crap. Now I really was on my own. I did as Miss Greer asked and set my bag down on the floor next to the couch. I dusted off a small section of the velvet surface and sat down, coughing as a cloud of dust surrounded me. Man, when was the last time anyone actually sat on this thing? 1902? If I ever did hope to have friends who came to visit and hang out the way we'd done at Peyton's, we were going to need to make some serious changes around here. Maybe Peyton's parents would be so grateful once I helped save her life that they'd come to our house and redecorate the entire place for free. All new furniture and paint, give the old place a facelift. I imagined the look on Uncle Martin's face as they tried to pull down his black chandelier, and I smiled. This is no laughing matter, Lenora, Miss Greer said. I pressed my lips together and straightened my shoulders. I didn't want to make this any worse, but I couldn't help myself. It was a defense mechanism. I know why you weren't at school just now, Miss Greer said. I took a deep breath. Okay, so they knew where I was, but how in the heck had the council sent someone so quickly? I'd only just gone to Kai's a couple hours ago. I am extremely disappointed that you chose to go outside our coven for information, she said. The situation with these young women is unfortunate, but it's not your concern. Why did you seek the help of an outsider rather than come to me or even your uncle? None of my concern. I crossed my arms in front of my chest. That was exactly why I hadn't come to her. I knew she would tell me to stay out of it. Is the council sending someone else to save them? I asked. The council does not answer to you, child. Well, technically, I don't answer to the council either, I said, regretting my words the second they popped out of my mouth. I haven't taken the test, I mean. You are forbidden to look into the disappearances of these human teenagers any further, Miss Greer said. You are not allowed to look for them, research the facts, or try to aid them in any way. This is an official order from the Council of Witches. Do you understand what that means, Lenora? I clenched my jaw so tight, I thought I was going to break a tooth. There was no way I could just sit back and watch those girls die. I wouldn't do it. Lenora, answer me. I bit my tongue and tried to hold it in. I even thought through an appropriate, obedient response, but I couldn't force myself to actually agree to it. In the end, like always, my tongue had a mind of its own. Are you seriously telling me the council is planning to do nothing to help these girls? I asked, standing. They all have magical blood, magical ancestry just like us. What if it was me who'd gone missing? Would I just be left to die? Of course not, but it wasn't you who was taken, and none of those young women are in touch with their magical abilities in any way, she said. They don't even know what they're capable of, and I'd be surprised if they could access any magical abilities with how little there is in their system, even with extensive training. Those girls are not part of our world. That doesn't make them any less valuable, I said, daring to step closer to her. I was so angry my body shook with it. You could choose to send in a few slayers and save them right now. I know you could. What the council decides and why is none of your concern. And if you have any aspirations of becoming an official part of the Slayer community, you'll do exactly as you're told and leave this alone. Or what? I asked, standing my ground. Miss Greer's eyes twitched slightly. She wasn't used to being defied in any way, but I couldn't help myself. Trust me when I say you don't want to find out, she said. The threat in her eyes made me feel a bit sick to my stomach. What would they do to me if I kept going with this investigation? Would they kill me? Surely not. But from her expression, I honestly couldn't tell. At least explain to me why the council is choosing not to get involved. It doesn't make any sense, I said. Kai told me he has research that proves this demon has done this before several times. How is killing this many girls okay with the council? How is this not crossing some kind of line? Miss Greer's eyes flashed with red like embers igniting deep inside her. The council does not have to explain its decisions to you or to anyone, she said, and Kai Richards is not a part of our council. He isn't even abiding by the laws of his own sect, and his actions are eventually going to get him killed, just like... She cut her words off and tugged at the bottom of her jacket. I don't want to see you go down with him, Lenny. But if you continue to look into this or take any action to try to save those girls, I won't help you when the council calls for you. I was very close to your parents, but I want to make it absolutely clear that I will not step in to save you if it comes to that. Her words stung. Deep down, I'd always assumed that despite her harsh ways and ruthless reputation, she was loyal to my parents. For some stupid reason, I believed that meant she would look after me the way she'd always looked out for them. A keeper's job, ultimately, was exactly that, to make sure their slayers had all the information, training, and support they needed to execute the council's orders. As my parents' keeper for most of their career, I felt there was mutual respect and affection in their relationship. Why had I believed that would extend to me after my parents died? Have I made myself clear, Miss Thorne? I swallowed back tears and did my best to hide my emotions. Crystal, I said. Good. I don't particularly like to have to handle things in person if it can be avoided, but I came here out of respect for your parents and their loyalty to the council, she said. Stay out of this, Lenora, and you'll be just fine. Don't make me come down here again, though. I won't be this pleasant next time we meet. Pleasant? Yeah, she'd been a real joy to have around for the past half hour. According to her, I was going to have to just let my new friend and 4 other innocent girls be sacrificed by a demon, regardless of the fact that no one could explain why. Such pleasant news. Anger and frustration grew inside me, but I held it back as much as I could, at least until Miss Greer had made it to her car. Then I screamed and punched the wall. Uncle Martin reappeared from wherever he'd been in the back rooms. I take it your conversation with Blythe was not as productive in the way you might have hoped. My fist was still balled up, and I was definitely not done punching things. I couldn't wait to have more offensive magic in my arsenal so that I could more effectively express my anger when I needed to. Right now, I would have very much liked to blow something up. It doesn't make any sense that the council isn't stepping in to save these girls, I said. There's no doubt in my mind that their disappearances are tied to rituals performed throughout the world over the past decade. She didn't even try to deny that. So how could the council just let that go? Isn't this exactly why Slayers existed to make sure things are balanced, to save the innocent? I reared back and punched the door frame. This time I kind of hurt myself, but the pain was satisfying. I was so angry, the pain made sense to me, a lot more than the council's decisions anyway. They can't actually expect me to obey their orders, can they? Sitting back when we know there's something we could do to help them is murder, Martin. It's evil. And I thought that's what we were supposed to stand against. Or am I missing something here? He was quiet as I shouted and punched and kicked. I realized I must look like a child, but I had no other way to express myself. I wanted to destroy everything in my path right now. If you want to sit down and talk about this, let's do it in the kitchen with a cup of hot tea or coffee, Martin said, his voice calm. But if you prefer to stay out here and destroy your own ancestral home, so be it. I leaned my head against the doorframe and sighed. What I wanted was to destroy the demon responsible for all of this. Telling me I couldn't even try was like chopping off my arms. Martin had already walked back through the dark hallway toward the kitchen, and I followed him with heavy footsteps. He was surely going to tell me to obey the council, that they had their reasons, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to hear it. I wanted answers, not to be told I would have to stay in the dark forever. Was this what it was like to be a slayer too? I'd always imagined my parents as these all-powerful witches with the ability to make their own decisions and exact justice on any creature who deserved it. But maybe that had been a child's view of something much more complex. Maybe my parents had been more like soldiers this whole time. Maybe they'd never been free. I waited in silence as Martin brewed some fresh coffee and poured us each a cup. I always took mine with a bit of cream and sugar, but he drank his black. Thank you, I muttered when he pushed a steaming white mug toward me. First, I want you to know that you don't have to sneak around in this house. His voice was stern, but I could see a hint of sorrow in his eyes too. When you keep things from me, it makes it impossible to fully protect you. And regardless of what the council or Blythe Greer have to say, I will always be here to protect you, even when you make bad decisions. His words went deep and cooled my anger, but I still wasn't ready to let it go. I don't see what the big deal is here about me talking to Kai, I said. It's not like anyone told me not to hang out with the guy. I wasn't doing anything wrong. You skipped school as though you had my permission, Martin said. I made a face and wrapped my hands around the warm mug. Okay, that was probably a bad decision. I'm sorry about that, I said. But I was afraid that if I talked to you about what was going on, you'd just tell me to stay out of it. Which means that you already knew what you were doing was wrong, Martin said softly. For future reference, if your initial thought is to hide your actions from me, it's probably something you're not supposed to be doing. I sighed. He was right. But that didn't make it any easier. You have to understand how confusing this is, I said. I've been raised to fight for justice and balance, to save the lives of the innocent and make sure that any demon or other creature tipping the scales too far toward evil is punished. So I see something happening right under my nose here in Newcastle, and I'm supposed to just let it go? Pretend it's none of my business? Why? Why aren't they sending someone? Tears sprang to my eyes, even though I'd been good at holding them back so far. Slayers weren't supposed to cry. I know it isn't easy to understand, he said softly, but a slayer's job is not to decide who is punished. Slayers are executioners in our world, but they are not the judge and jury. If you want to be a proper slayer, you will have to learn to act when a sentence is handed down to you, and only then. A tear escaped down my cheek, and I didn't even bother to wipe it away. I just stared into my cup of coffee. Over time, it will get easier, he said. I'm sorry you had to be introduced to this side of the business so quickly and in such a difficult way. I know how excited you were to have made a friend. For a long time, I couldn't say anything. I was afraid that if I opened my mouth to speak, the floodgates would open and my words would turn to sobs. I had to have more control over myself than this, or I would never be able to control my magic. I definitely learned that from my parents. When you allowed your emotions to control you, things went wrong. A slayer must always be in control of themselves. When I felt calm enough to speak, my voice was nothing more than a whisper. Do you think this is the right call? I asked, finally getting up the courage to look at Martin, even though I knew I'd disappointed him. If keepers are the ones that judge who deserves to live and die, then tell me, is this the decision you would have made to just let this demon go? Uncle Martin's eyes widened. He hadn't been expecting that question. I could see instantly that he didn't want to answer it, and that just proved what I'd been feeling all along. He didn't think this was right either. Something was off. If you want me to be honest with you about everything from now on, then I need to know I can trust you to tell me the truth too, I said. Tell me it's the right thing to do, to just let this demon kill my friend and the others, and I'll drop it right now. His eyes fluttered closed, and he let his head drop into his hands for a moment. You're as strong-willed as your father, you know that? I've heard it before, I muttered. He sighed and looked up to meet my eyes. To be clear, this is not my case. Therefore, it's not my decision to make. But, I asked, knowing there was more to it than that. No, this is not the decision I would have made. Frankly, I'm surprised the council didn't deal with this demon a long time ago, he said. In the end, though, the council has the final say. They must have their reasons, and we simply have to trust that. Well, that's not good enough for me, I said, my heart breaking at the idea of having to just walk away and let Peyton die. Martin placed his hand on mine, a rare gesture that made my heart race. I will give you this one piece of advice, he said. I said something similar to your father when he first became a slayer. I took a deep breath and looked up into Martin's eyes as he spoke. You are the only one who can decide what's right for you, he said. But if you go against the decisions of others, you must also be ready to face the consequences of that decision. I left Martin and went up to my room to be alone for a while, but his words kept echoing in my brain. The decision was mine, but if I decided to disobey the council, the consequences would be mine to bear as well. But what about the consequences of letting someone I cared about die when there might be something I could do about it? If I just let that happen, a piece of me would die with her. If that was the truth of being a slayer, then I couldn't take their stupid test and join them anyway. I couldn't live that kind of life. I'd rather turn my back on magic than turn my back on my friends. I was thinking through everything that happened throughout the day and wishing I could just crawl into a hole when someone knocked. But they hadn't knocked on my door. I sat up straight in bed and turned my eyes toward my second-story window. Carefully, I stood and peered toward the window, slightly terrified that whatever demon had taken Peyton was now here to get me. Who would knock on my window this late at night, or ever? With a flick of my wrist, I commanded the window to swing open. Incendium, I said with a wobbly voice. Kai leaned in, his eyes on the fire spell that engulfed my hands. Glad to see you're still alive, he said with a smirk, and that you're ready to fight. Are you up for a little outing? I let the spell fizzle and sighed in relief. How the heck did he get up here? And why was I so happy to see him even after he'd just gotten me into trouble? Maybe because he was the only one who wanted to help me save my friend. Maybe I was willing to deal with those consequences after all. An outing, I asked. Why? He climbed into my room, and the look in his dark eyes was suddenly very serious. Because, he said, I think I may have figured out who took Peyton. Thus ends episode 7 of The Witch's Key. I could definitely see like comments going by, but I'm trying not to read them as I read because I know I'll lose my place. But now I'm like, I got to go back and check because I can see there's stuff going by. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have to go back and read all these comments because I know they're good. I know my husband's reading them too. So I see a lot of people thinking Martin's already involved or that he's definitely going to step in. So who is the judge and jury then? Carol asks. There will be more information revealed over time, of course. Cheryl says, I love her spunk. I know. She can't hold herself back. I squealed and my daughter came running. Are you okay, Shanna? Team Moana, ugh, what is that? Hopefully this is not I don't like this ugh and more of a ugh cliffhanger. Allie says, this is so good. I knew Martin wouldn't be on the side of the council. I think it's something to do with the council or they know who's doing it, Gemma says. That's a good guess. It's too bad she has to hide things from Uncle Martin, Jessica says. Definitely. Definitely not long enough, says Sylvia. Thank you so much. Gemma, the way she reacted when she was angry reminded me of me. That's awesome. So as we continue on, so this is episode 7, and with this, we are heading toward kind of the middle of the book. And I think probably the next 2 episodes are going to be kind of bringing us to the middle of the episode. With that being said, that'll put us around the middle, around episode 9, I think. So you can deduce from that what you will. What I originally thought would be 12 episodes of 2,000 words each was like 24,000 words, has now already crossed the 24,000 word mark, and we're not even halfway. So welcome to my world as a writer. So basically what that means is whatever my like rough draft outline of this was, I am spending a couple hours every night kind of writing this as I go. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and hopefully you are forgiving any little like writing errors and stuff like that. But it's really been a fun adventure to tell a story in this way. And kind of, I think George and I were talking about this yesterday on our walk, that it's like, I think that sometimes, because I've been writing for more than 10 years, that as I write, sometimes I get stuck with writer's block or resistance because I want it to be perfect. And what this story is doing for me is kind of like, I've got a deadline. I have people waiting that want me to read it. So it's like, I can't overthink it, and I can't like wait for it to be perfect and just right. I have to just go with my instincts and say, what could this lead to? Where could this go? And what would be fun? Or, and of course I actually know the ending to the story, but there's other details that come up that I'm like, ooh, I didn't know that. And even yesterday on our walk, it was like, ooh, what about this? What if this happens? And it's just been like bringing the joy back to the writing for me. And it's just been super fun. So you guys are giving me that gift by showing up here when you can. I know most of you probably can't come every day, but it just means a lot to me that you guys are here and enjoying it. Yes, Kelly, the struggles of being a perfectionist, it is real. And it's one of those things, like you hear people say perfect is the enemy of done. And it's true. But when you're a writer, you also have to deal with that added side of, when you put it out there, there are other people that are going to judge your work. And so you want it to be perfect, because otherwise there's going to be, people that say, oh, you didn't do this right, or this didn't happen the way that I wanted, or, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it can make you, when you start getting criticism, it can make you think, okay, I got to hold it back until it's perfect. But I think what I'm understanding over the last few years of writing is just that it's never going to be perfect. And what my idea of perfect is, somebody else isn't going to like how it ends. As I approach, like many of you here, I recognize your names from years, of knowing you. Like Gemma, it's funny to see Gemma, because I always think of you as Jimsy. But like Gemma, we've been friends online for how long? Like 8 years or something. I've known your name and talked to you online for so long. But it's like, as I approach the last 2 books of the Shadow Demon saga that I've been writing for more than 10 years, I've been working on this series. There's that fear of what happens if people don't agree with how I end it, or like there's a big reveal coming up of who is the high priestess, the diamond priestess. And it's like, what if people are disappointed by who it is, or it's not a surprise, or there's not a good enough cliffhanger or whatever. And those are the kinds of things we think of as writers. And it can make it very difficult to get the writing on the page, because it's like, what if it's a disappointment? And I think that the gift that you guys are giving me and that this story is giving me is that I can't overthink it, and I can't wait for it to be perfect 6 months from now, which may mean that there are some errors and there's some things that I would have changed if I had more time to work on it. But at the same time, it's good and it's fun, and it's, it's still coming out, I think, a good story, and it's still something that's entertaining. So I think that I'm just kind of rambling a little bit here, but I think that that's part of the joy of this experience for me, even just after 7. Sure, you can bring the baby in. Just after 7 episodes, it's like I'm starting to realize how much I love the story and the process of writing. And I think every time I can remind myself that writing for me is not about making money or, getting famous or, how much ranking can I get on Amazon? It's really more about telling your stories, having fun, giving those like that creativity wings. And that sounds so cheesy, you guys. I'm totally cheesing it up. There she is. Oh, you didn't put her little bow on her.
Oh,
She has a little bow today. You say hi? Say hi, everybody. Say hello. You're the Bob Ross of writing, the joy of writing. It is so true. And I think that it's easy. Many of you know that I'm an indie author, meaning that I am 100% like my own publisher and everything. I do it all myself. I don't have a traditional publisher. And, I think that a lot of indies get caught up because we see our sales numbers, we see our sales rankings, we have a lot of people to compare ourselves to because there's just millions of books out there, that we can often get stuck on worrying about the business side of writing. And it's every time that I get like really let myself just love the process and love the stories and write what I truly just think is fun, then it just lights me up. So thank you guys for being a part of that and for being here for the experience of it. Because cliffhangers for me are so much fun. I saw Mikkel said something like cliffhangers are life or something. I don't know. Cliffhangers are everything. I missed it because it's gone by. But I'm like, yes, I feel the same way because it makes stories so exciting. Everybody's saying hi to you. Everybody's saying hi. Are you the sweetest girl? Yeah. She took a good long nap twice today now.
Found it.
That's too good. Oh, you found her little bow. You want to see? You want to put it on? Show how cute you are with your little bow. This came from her little Aunt Janet, her Tia Janet. I'll show everybody your cute little bow. She's always smiling. She's always such a smiley little girl. She's trying to pull the cord out of this microphone. All right, you guys. So that's a long 35 plus minutes today. But please, if you get a chance, hit the like button, the thumbs up button to let people know that you enjoyed this so that more people hopefully will enjoy the story as well. If you, like I said, if you guys know anybody that you think would enjoy this, please send them the link to the playlist. It's down below and let them get caught up with us as well. And hopefully you will be able to make it with us. If you're enjoying the story, I hope that you'll join me again later this week. I will be here every single day at 4 p.m. Eastern, the same time, all the way through Saturday. And then there will be another vlog coming on Sunday. So I am having so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for giving us all something to look forward to and for being a part of this new little community for the Witch's Key that is joining here. So yes, she's definitely teething. She's got those hands in her mouth. You can tell it's coming. I expect to see a little tooth come on the bottom any day now. So yeah, look at that smile. Andrew was always so smiley too. Yeah, say bye-bye. Hey, bye-bye. All right, guys. Bye. Thank you so much. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. Bye.